Martin Luther King Jr., MLK, also recommended critical thinking in this speech, Keep Moving from This Mountain, an address at Spelman College on 10 April 1960. He said, scroll down a little bit, okay, quote, "Now education has a great role to play at this point. You see, education has a twofold function. The one is utility and the other culture. Education must give an individual efficiency, but it must also humanize the individual. On the one hand, education must give us the power to concentrate, the faculty for intensive thinking. This is a basic function of education. On the other hand, education must help us to think critically. And so education helps us to lift an individual from the bondage of legends and half-truths to the unfettered realm of objective analysis and creative appraisal. If an individual can't think critically, he really isn't educated. Of course, I'm sure all the Spelmanites and Morehouse men and Morris Brown and Clark and Atlanta University students and all the other people present here are educated. But I found a lot of people who have been to school who are not educated. I'm sure that does not apply to you. So many people can't think critically. Thinking critically means that the individual must think imaginatively, creatively, originally. Originality is a basic part of education. That does not mean that you think something altogether new. If that were the case, Shakespeare wasn't original, for Shakespeare depended on Plutarch and others for many of his plots. Originality does not mean thinking up something totally new in the universe, but it does mean giving new validity to old form. In a real sense, education must help an individual think intensively, critically, imaginatively. Unquote. Amen. I like what he says. And a lot of here, but of course, like in particular, education helps to lift an individual from the bondage of legends and half-truths to the unfettered realm of objective analysis and creative appraisal. Unquote. I love how he does that. Objective analysis is not cold. When you really understand the role it plays in human life, it is vital and warm and alive and great. It's focused on the truth and reality and living a great life and enjoying it. And like he says here, to add something to the original thing, originality means giving new validity to old form. In other words, grasping things people are teaching you and seeing what it means on your own, independently. That's the way I look at it. Originality, independence. I think there's a similarity here. But since it wasn't done for a lot of us in the education we got because of the culture, it's not the teacher, it's not necessarily the school. It's the bad philosophers and bad intellectuals who have foisted this upon us. So we got to take charge and learn to think critically ourselves to help get a better education, as MLK said.